What if some of Hollywood's toughest cowboys were hiding secrets that could have destroyed everything they worked for? Behind the horses, revolvers, and fearless heroes was an industry built on image, where one rumor could end a career overnight. Today, we'll uncover remarkable stories of legendary Western stars who lived under extraordinary pressure, separating documented history from long-standing speculation. Their journeys reveal not only Hollywood's hidden past, but also the personal cost of protecting a carefully crafted public image. Anthony Perkins. Although Anthony Perkins is forever remembered for his unforgettable performance in Psycho, his career extended far beyond one iconic role. Early in his career, he appeared in several Western-themed productions, where his thoughtful performances brought an uncommon emotional depth to traditional frontier stories. Unlike the fearless cowboys audiences expected, Perkins often portrayed characters carrying quiet vulnerability beneath the surface, making him stand out from many of his contemporaries. Off-screen, however, Perkins faced challenges that were far more personal. According to biographies and public accounts, he struggled for years to reconcile his private identity with the expectations imposed by Hollywood during an era when studios carefully managed every aspect of a star's public image. He married photographer Barry Berenson in 1973, and together they raised 2 sons. Yet biographers have also documented earlier relationships with men and described the immense pressure he experienced while trying to fit the industry's expectations. Those accounts suggest he even underwent conversion therapy, reflecting the limited understanding and social attitudes of the time. Friends later described Perkins as a deeply intelligent, sensitive man whose personal struggles often shaped the emotional complexity visible in his performances. He passed away in 1992 from complications related to AIDS. Today, his legacy extends beyond his unforgettable films, reminding us how many talented performers were forced to hide important parts of themselves simply to protect the careers they loved. Tab Hunter. Tab Hunter became one of Hollywood's brightest young stars during the 1950s. With his blonde hair, effortless charm, and wholesome image, he was promoted as the perfect American leading man. Films like The Burning Hills and Gunman's Walk helped establish him as a popular Western actor, while fan magazines celebrated him as the ideal boyfriend every young woman dreamed of. Behind that carefully crafted image, however, life was far more complicated than audiences realized. According to Hunter's autobiography and other public accounts, the studio system worked tirelessly to protect his marketable reputation. Publicists arranged highly publicized dates with actresses and encouraged romantic headlines designed to reinforce his heartthrob image. At the same time, Hunter privately formed meaningful relationships with men, including Olympic figure skater Ronnie Robertson and later actor Anthony Perkins. Maintaining that separation between public image and private life required constant caution. In 1955, Confidential magazine threatened to expose details about his personal life, creating one of the most stressful periods of his career. Although the immediate scandal was largely redirected elsewhere, the experience left Hunter increasingly aware of how quickly a successful career could disappear in Hollywood. For years, he carefully protected his privacy while continuing to work in film and television. As attitudes gradually changed, Hunter chose openness instead of secrecy. His 2005 autobiography offered an honest reflection on the pressures of living behind a carefully constructed public image. Today, his legacy represents not only classic Hollywood success, but also the courage to finally tell his own story on his own terms. Tyrone Power. Tyrone Power was one of 20th Century Fox's brightest stars, admired for his striking looks, effortless charm, and commanding screen presence. Whether portraying legendary heroes in Jesse James or The Mark of Zorro, he embodied the courageous, romantic leading man audiences adored. His athletic appearance and natural charisma made him a perfect fit for historical adventures and westerns, helping him become one of Hollywood's biggest box office attractions throughout the late 1930s and 1940s. Behind that polished public image, however, biographers have described a far more complicated private life. Power married 3 times, became a father, and maintained the reputation of a traditional Hollywood leading man. At the same time, several historians and biographies have suggested that he also had relationships with men, although many aspects of his private life remain the subject of historical discussion rather than definitive public record. During Hollywood's studio era, protecting a star's carefully crafted image was considered essential, and publicity departments worked aggressively to prevent personal rumors from becoming damaging headlines. Friends later described Power as a thoughtful, sensitive man who carried the weight of enormous professional expectations throughout his career. Despite his fame, he reportedly lived with constant concern that private matters could overshadow his accomplishments on screen. In 1958, while filming Solomon and Sheba in Spain, Tyrone Power suffered a heart attack and passed away at only 44 years old. Today, he is remembered not only as one of Hollywood's greatest leading men, but also as a symbol of an era when public image often came at a deeply personal cost. Randolph Scott. Randolph Scott became one of the defining faces of the American Western. Calm, dependable, and quietly confident, he built a remarkable career portraying honorable lawmen, ranchers, and frontier heroes who always seemed to stand for justice. Throughout the 1930s, 1940s, and 1950s, audiences admired his steady screen presence, making him one of the genre's most respected and recognizable stars. His performances rarely relied on dramatic speeches. Instead, his quiet strength and unwavering integrity became his trademark. Away from the cameras, however, Scott's personal life generated decades of curiosity. One of the most discussed chapters involved his long friendship and shared living arrangement with fellow actor Cary Grant during the early years of their careers. The two men shared a beach house in California, and their close companionship became the subject of persistent speculation among gossip writers and later film historians. While some biographers have suggested their relationship may have been romantic, others describe it as a deep, lifelong friendship. No definitive evidence has ever resolved those questions, and Scott himself never publicly addressed the rumors. Scott later married twice and remained intensely private about his personal life. Rather than responding to speculation, he focused on his work, allowing his performances to define his reputation instead of tabloid headlines. When he retired from acting in 1962, Scott had already secured his place as one of Hollywood's greatest Western stars. Wise investments made him financially successful long after leaving the screen. Today, his legacy rests not on unanswered rumors, but on an extraordinary career that helped shape the image of the classic American cowboy for generations. Ramon Novarro. Ramon Novarro rose to international fame during Hollywood's silent film era, becoming one of MGM's biggest stars after his unforgettable performance in Ben-Hur, A Tale of the Christ, in 1925. Handsome, athletic, and charismatic, he was promoted as one of the studio's greatest romantic leading men, often compared to Rudolph Valentino. Audiences admired his commanding screen presence, while studio executives carefully crafted an image of irresistible masculinity that appealed to moviegoers around the world. Behind that glamorous public image, however, historians have documented a much more private life. Novarro never married, and biographies suggest he had long-term relationships with men throughout his career, including a close relationship with journalist Herbert Howe. During an era when homosexuality could destroy a Hollywood career, studios worked aggressively to protect their biggest stars. Publicists reportedly promoted fictional romances and discouraged reporters from investigating persistent rumors, allowing Novarro's carefully managed public persona to remain intact. As sound films replaced silent cinema, Novarro's noticeable accent limited the range of leading roles available to him, and his career gradually shifted towards supporting performances. Although his popularity declined, he remained respected within the entertainment industry and maintained close friendships throughout Hollywood. In 1968, Novarro's life ended tragically when two intruders entered his home during a robbery, resulting in his passing at the age of 69. The shocking crime generated sensational headlines that often overshadowed his remarkable artistic achievements. Today, Ramon Novarro is remembered not only as a pioneering silent film star, but also as a talented performer whose personal life reflected the immense pressures faced by many actors during Hollywood's golden age. Guy Madison. Guy Madison became one of television's most recognizable Western heroes during the 1950s. After attracting attention with a small role in Since You Went Away, his all-American appearance and calm screen presence earned him the starring role in The Adventures of Wild Bill Hickok. The series became a tremendous success, making Madison a household name and establishing him as the kind of honest, dependable cowboy audiences admired. His wholesome image perfectly matched the values Hollywood wanted to promote during that era. Behind the scenes, however, Madison's private life became the subject of quiet speculation. He married actress Gail Russell in 1949, and fan magazines celebrated the relationship as the perfect Hollywood romance. The marriage ended only a few years later, and over time, biographers and historians discussed persistent rumors suggesting Madison had relationships with men, including reported connections within Hollywood's close-knit social circles. Madison never publicly confirmed those claims, and much of the discussion remains based on historical accounts rather than verified statements from the actor himself. Like many performers of his generation, Madison lived during a period when studios carefully managed every aspect of a star's public image. Publicists promoted carefully staged interviews and photographs designed to reinforce his reputation as America's ideal Western hero, while discouraging attention toward his private life. As Western television gradually lost popularity during the 1960s, Madison found new opportunities in European films before quietly stepping away from the spotlight. Today, he is remembered for his lasting contribution to television westerns and for representing an era when many actors carefully guarded their personal lives to protect careers built under Hollywood's strict studio system. George Maharis. George Maharis became one of television's brightest rising stars during the early 1960s through his acclaimed role in Route 66. His rugged good looks, quiet intensity, and natural charisma quickly won over audiences, making him one of Hollywood's most promising leading men. As his popularity grew, Maharis expanded into films, including several Western productions, where his emotionally grounded performances added depth to the genre's traditional heroes. Many believed he was destined for an even greater career. That promising future changed dramatically after a series of highly publicized legal incidents. In 1967 and again in 1974, Maharis was arrested on charges related to same-sex conduct, events that generated widespread media coverage during a period when such accusations often carried devastating professional consequences. Although he never publicly identified himself as gay, the headlines significantly damaged his reputation within the entertainment industry. Film offers declined, television opportunities became limited, and many studios quietly distanced themselves from the actor. Friends and colleagues later described Maharis as a talented, hard-working performer whose career suffered as much from social prejudice as from personal controversy. Rather than seeking constant media attention, he gradually withdrew from Hollywood, choosing a quieter life away from the spotlight while continuing to pursue his interests in painting and music. Looking back today, George Maharis's story reflects the harsh realities faced by many performers during an era when private lives could overshadow professional accomplishments. His legacy reminds us that extraordinary talent sometimes went unrecognized because of fear, misunderstanding, and changing social attitudes rather than a lack of ability or dedication. Behind every legendary cowboy was a real person facing pressures far greater than anything shown on screen. These remarkable stories remind us that Hollywood's greatest battles often happened away from the cameras. Which actor's journey surprised you the most? Share your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more untold Hollywood stories. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.